up in the middle of the night, as I always love to be when I do these kinds of episodes. There's a certain energy in the middle of the night. I can't really put my finger on it. Today, or tonight, however you'd like to look at it, I'm going to be doing an episode that's a bit different on my theories. And these are, by the way, I want to just tell you right now that these are just my theories on it. My theories on developing psychic ability. And I suppose that goes into more of the beyond category. And I've been talking about, obviously, the main focus of my channel is astral projection and the beyond body, which will continue to be the main focus. But every once in a while, I'll put this in just because, perhaps I was thinking about it at work. Perhaps it's just been on my mind. And, I actually believe in this. Also, I'll be sharing a bit of my last beyond body experience. And it happened a few nights ago. One of the reasons why I didn't just share it immediately was because it was very, very out there and difficult to talk about, and not a lot to describe to you because there's not a lot that I remember. Of course, on this channel, I will always just tell you what I can remember. I'm not going to fill in the blanks, or I'm not going to try and make it perfect for you, as in, when people will tell a story or in television or something like that. You'll be watching a television show and you'll be like, okay, well, what's the end going to be, and perhaps it'll satisfy you because you were really into the story, and now comes the end and it's a satisfactory ending. And these experiences aren't like that. These experiences are real experiences. And so, it's going to be messy sometimes. Sometimes you're not going to know exactly, well, I have to tell you, many times I really don't understand what's going on. I have no idea. And it's been interesting because there have been times when the beings that have been around me, there was once where a being was saying something to me and I just simply didn't understand what they were saying. I could not comprehend it for whatever reason. And in the middle of saying whatever he was saying, he said, "You don't understand me, do you?" And I said, "No, I don't understand." There are times in the astral plane and beyond where beings may communicate with you. And because of you being in this 3D world with the physical body, it may be very difficult for your mind to comprehend what it is that they're saying, depending on what it might be. But first, I want to talk about developing your psychic ability before I get into that beyond body experience. And this is going to be a simple one for me because I'm certainly, there are people on the internet, many people on the internet, that talk about being able to develop your psychic ability, that everybody can tap in to this. It's not just certain people that, I'm going to put quotes around this, have a gift, whatever that's supposed to mean. We all have the capability inside of us because we're all spirit beings, all of us. So my theory is simple, and it's one thing that I've talked about when I've left my body, and this is a beginning. And perhaps only a beginning. Perhaps you will start with what I'm going to tell you, and that'll be it. You'll decide, you'll make the decision not to go further with this. But perhaps there'll be those of you who take what I say and then, go on from there. And kind of hoping that I'm hoping that I give you a good beginning, a good foundation. And really, what I want to talk about is developing your instincts. Everybody has instincts, right? How many times have you been in a situation where your gut has told you, you know, you shouldn't do this, or perhaps you should do that? I'll give you an example. Years and years and years ago, uh, a friend of mine and myself, we were pulling up to a small store. I don't remember I really honestly don't remember what the store was. It was like some tiny retail store. And we stopped the car, and right before we got out, I saw some gentlemen coming up, and before I even really looked at them and was able to take it in, my instinct told me something's not right. Something is wrong here. And lo and behold, at one point I saw one had like a mask on, and it looked like they were getting ready to rob the place. And I recall that we pulled out and took off right after that. It didn't look like a good situation, and I have no idea what happened after that. But yeah, that was when my instinct told me, hey, look, there's something wrong. And that's not the only time. There have been countless times where I've had a decision to make, and for whatever reason, my gut or my instinct kicks in and says, you know, it might not be a good idea to do whatever this is, to go to a specific place, to do a specific thing. This may not be a good idea. And every time I listen to my instincts, they are always correct. And when I don't listen to my instincts well, then there's correct as well, because something bad or negative occurs. So it really begins with your instincts. That's where it starts. It starts with your instincts. And I talk about your instincts being basically on steroids when you are astral projecting or when you're in the astral plane. Your instincts are on steroids. I mean, they're huge. For me, that's the way it is. I don't know. It may be different for others who do this, but for me, that's what happens. My instincts tell me everything. From all the way to the point of how a person is feeling, how the person, wants to communicate with everything. I mean, it tells me everything without words. It's just feelings. And of course, in our bodies, we have it. When we're walking around, we have this, what I'm going to call it, a psychic ability. What I challenge you to do as you listen to the sound of my voice tonight or today, if you're listening in the daytime, what I challenge you to do is to tap into your instincts. When something is telling you something is wrong, listen to them. But not only that, really, really, truly develop them. You can, in my opinion, develop them to a point where you could sense beings, spirit beings, when they're around you. Because your instincts will tell you there's somebody there. How many times has somebody walked by you and you didn't turn your head, but you knew, some part of you knew that someone was going by? You could have shut your eyes and you would still know someone was going by. How is that? I wonder how many times we ask ourselves that. And I'm talking about if someone didn't make a sound, someone didn't say anything, you would just know somebody was there. Why is that? That's your instinct. And that's the beginning. Really, really focus on your instincts. Sit down and think about them. Lie down and think about them, actually, if you can, and just let them come to you. Develop them, because again, in my opinion, that is the foundation to beginning and developing your psychic abilities. And I think that that can lead to other things eventually. But we can start with that. That's the beginning. That's the core. So now let me get into this experience, and I'm not going to take much time with this because really there's not much to say. It was very kind of a strange experience for me. And again, it was a night where I wasn't feeling the greatest. I wasn't in the good mood at all. And I honestly didn't think that I would be going anywhere. Normally, if I'm not in the greatest of moods, if things aren't going well, normally I'm grounded. I'm not going anywhere. Nothing's going to happen. And when I felt the sensation of motion, when it came to me, I was a bit startled. When I was moving, it was like all of the emotion, the anger, or whatever it was that was happening to me before that was kind of put to the side. And I was enjoying the trip. But right before I took off, right before I started my beyond body motion, and this is what it felt like. It did feel like the beyond body. It didn't feel like astral projection where I separate from my body, but the beyond body where I kind of remain, but I feel this sense of motion, this sense of acceleration. As I was going into it, I felt a hand clasp onto mine. Actually, I thought I felt two hands, one in my left, one in my right. And if I haven't already told you this, what I believe is, and it's not the first time this has happened, this happens regularly when I feel a hand connect to mine. It's not the first time, again, that I felt this, but what my theory is that it is my mind's way of understanding a connection with a spirit being. So, in other words, your mind comes up with these strategies or these ways of categorizing things. And for my mind, it categorizes a connection with a spirit being with a hand that connects to mine. And that's the easiest way for me to understand it. And that's what happened. I felt that. I felt that as I was moving. And eventually I ended up in this place, and I couldn't tell you what this place is. But as I was slowing down and I was beginning to see this place as it began to materialize around me, my guide, who I realized was speaking to me at that moment, was explaining some things that I needed to do. And it was very kind of matter of fact. For the life of me, I could not tell you what those things were. I don't remember what they were. What I do remember was that as my guide was explaining them, I couldn't understand what he was saying anyway. I was like, I couldn't grasp the concepts of what he was talking about. And at some point, when I did end up in this place, and I can't remember much about this place, my spirit guide did appear. He appeared as an older black man who was very, very short and didn't have hair at all. He was bald headed, and I was like, interesting. Okay, that's a kind of a different experience. And he didn't seem to be in the best of moods, actually. And it's interesting because I guess I've never thought of my spirit guides as ever being in a bad mood. I always thought they would always be happy. But in this instance, the spirit guide was not. And I recall that he had me following him into a room. We were walking down some sort of hall or some area. And this felt to me to be almost like a place of business, or a kind of a place where you would have a like a governmental agency or something. It was really, really interesting. But I was following him into this place through this door, and there was a woman, I remember, she was standing at the door and she was covered almost like a Muslim might be, like with the cover and everything. It was very strange, but it wasn't like that at all. But that's the closest thing that I can associate with what I saw with this. And as I walked inside, and again, I was following him, and as I was following him, I was thinking, how long is this going to last? Because I don't know. I never know how long my experiences are going to last. Within moments of thinking that, I was back. And that was it. It was very weird, interesting, and very, very strange experience. I don't know why I had that experience, but, you know, yeah, I put it out there for you, and, you know, perhaps you have theories on what it was. I really don't know what it was all about. Anyway, that is it for tonight. Take care.